Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. It is time for the mid-month wrap up. I am a day late. I wanted to have this video up. Well, I don't know when I'm going to get it up, but today is the 16th. It's 1:30 in the afternoon at my house, so I guess you'll find out how fast I got it edited and uploaded. But I wanted to film this yesterday and I did not. None of that matters. Let's talk about what I have read. Y'all, the first half of last month, I had read 20 books. Or like 19 or something. The first half of this month, I have read 10 books. I'm so happy about it. We don't generally look at stats or anything like that when it's just the half of the month. So let's talk about the books I've read. I'm just going to get right down here out of the way and we're just going to go through them quickly. Everything has been 4 or 4.5 stars. Y'all already know that I love to rate a book a 4-star and I'm having a really hard time going below 4 stars, but let's talk about this. The first book I finished this month was Doom Key, and that was for the Dark Tower readathon that I'm doing this month over on Jake's channel at the Bookish Drummer. So a lot of these are counting for that readathon, but I gave it 4.5 stars. I really liked it. To me, it was a really good combination of old King writing and new King writing. I didn't pay attention to when it came out, but I'm looking right here. It came out in 2008. So that's definitely new King writing, but there was still some of the old in there for me that I really enjoyed. I liked the supernatural aspects of it. I really liked the kind of, you think that this power is going to be used for good, but then it kind of gets twisted on you. And so I really liked that whole concept of it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Also 4.5 stars, The Charm Offensive. This was such a cute romance. It was a dating show where the bachelor guy, it was one of those bachelor shows where you're like, I give you a rose. Will you accept this rose? Kind of situation. And the guy that was hired as the bachelor was not doing it to marry somebody or even to fall in love. He was doing it to like fix his reputation. And also he was kind of being not forced, but coerced, not coerced. That sounds like something else. He was talked into doing it as like, this will make your reputation better, but he didn't fully know everything that he was going to have to do. Also, he didn't really fully know himself. So this is counting as my questioning on my LGBTQ thing for Herkyed. That's where I'm going to be counting this because he's definitely trying to figure himself out. And all of the women that are on there have a person on the show, a producer who is in charge of them, like a minder to take care of them. And he is really good at doing that. So when the bachelor guy starts freaking out on his very first day, they're like, oh, you're no longer in charge of the women. You're in charge of the bachelor guy because we need you to calm him down and get him ready to be on camera. And so he goes immediately, starts working with him. They become really good friends, and then things develop from there, and that's how it goes. So, The Charm Offensive. So cute. I really liked it. The Case of the Missing Marquess got 4 stars. And part of it is because it was shorter than I wanted it to be, but also I realized that it is a young adult novel, which I didn't know when going into it. And I'm definitely going to be reading more in the series, and hopefully as it goes along and I get to know like all the characters, I'll feel better about it. I mean, 4 is a good rating. I don't know why I'm like, I'll feel better. Anyway, Enola Holmes is the main character, and she is the little sister of Sherlock Holmes. And in this world, Sherlock Holmes is exactly who we think he is, where he solves all these cases and he uses logic to deduce things. And then we have his little sister who, for reasons, is now in London because she kind of ran away from things. Anyway, none of that matters, except that now she is helping, not him, she's helping other people by solving their issues. I don't even know how to exactly say it, but we're going to be following Enola Holmes as she has different cases of mysterious things that she works on. I will continue with this series, although that was the first book in a new series. As was The Charm Offensive, also book 1 in a new series. Also, book 1 in a series is American Gods, although I think any other books in the American Gods series might just be stories that take place. I don't know that they're following Shadow. That's not his name. What's his name? So I think it's Shadow. Honestly, I don't care enough to go look it up. So the main character from American Gods Neil Gaiman did say that there were more stories that he could tell about him in the future, so he could come back and write about him again. So I think that anything else in that series might just be stories. So anyway, that's fine. The next one, Flowers for Algernon. I gave it 4 stars. I kind of wanted to give it less than that. This book is old. 1966 was when it was originally written as a shorter version than what we have now. Now, the one we have now was like redone in the 70s. Anyway, it's about a neurodivergent guy named Charlie, and they can perform a surgery to make him smart, and they do. And first, they did the surgery on a mouse named Algernon, or a rat. I don't know the difference, nor do I care really. But a rodent of some kind, they performed the surgery on him, and Algernon got really smart, and he could solve all these mazes faster than Charlie before Charlie had the surgery. Then Charlie has the surgery, he becomes super smart, and then maybe things don't work out the way everybody's hoping that it will. So that is Flowers for Algernon. It's depressing and sad. But read it. If you need to read a classic for some reason, a literary fiction book, it does have some language in it that was appropriate in the 60s and is probably inappropriate, definitely inappropriate right now. So, the next one, Dead Tired. I loved this. Book 2 in a series. Finally, book 2 in a series, and I'm caught up with this series. This is The Expectant Detectives. In the first book, she and all of her friends are pregnant, and they accidentally have to solve a murder because they're kind of at their, what do they call it? It's not a prenatal class. That's what I would call it, but I feel like they called it something else. Anyway, it's in England, so there's probably a British name for the same thing. But they go to this class, and somebody at the class dies and is murdered. And so they help solve it. That's the first book. Then this book, their babies are a year old, which I love that we just skipped a whole year of the babies' lives. And it's like, fine, they're a year old at this point. And so it's still her and her friends, or the people that she was in this class with. Some of them are friends, some of them are acquaintances, I will say. And there is a group of people who are demonstrating, or what is it when you oppose something? Protesting a development that is being put up in the forest area. They want it to not be built, so they're protesting, and these women just stumble into this protest. They get invited in a sort of weird way, and during the protest, someone who is chained to a tree, it dies. While the ladies are also chained to the trees. Y'all, it's so good. Anyway, I also read that the first book, The Expectant Detectives, she wrote the first chapter, maybe the first 2 chapters or something, and sent it off to like a comedy novel thing to just be like, okay, here's an idea I have for this book that I think will be funny, and here it is. And she got picked as a finalist and had to hurry up and write the book that was now... She had to write the rest of the book. So apparently that's how she wrote the first book. I think it's great. Then I read 2 Jim Butcher novels in the wrong order, which made me real mad. I read White Knight and then Proven Guilty instead of Proven Guilty and White Knight. Those are books 8 and 9. So I did not start a new series. However, I read White Knight, and I was a little confused because there was one character that's like an apprentice to him, to Dresden now. And I was like, was this person in the other book before? And no, they were not, because they were in Proven Guilty. And so in Proven Guilty, he is actually helping out his friend who was in one of the earlier books, a few of the earlier books. He is like divinely chosen by God to do something. And so this guy has a bunch of kids, and his oldest daughter is getting into some trouble. And that's what's happening in Proven Guilty, is that she's got some issues going on. She comes to Harry for help because it has to do with witchcraft and things. And so Harry goes and tries to help her, and they uncover a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. Then in White Knight, she is Harry's like apprentice working for him at this point, and we just see Harry a lot more in White Knight, back with the police detective who has now been demoted, but they're back working together a lot more, and I need them to just get together. 9 books of them teasing that maybe they have feelings for each other, that's enough. Like, Just do something or stop it. That's what I'm saying. Then, in the middle of that, I read A Symphony of Echoes, which is book 2 in the St. Mary's, the Chronicles of St. Mary's series. These are the time-traveling historians, and the amount of times that I laughed out loud reading this story just reminded me of how funny I think Jodi Taylor is as a writer. And so if you need a sci-fi book and you don't know how you feel about sci-fi stuff, but you like historical fiction, pick this up. It has minimal amounts of sci-fi and a lot of historical fiction and a lot of snarkiness. Like, the main character is so good. Also, speaking of main character, The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth is the last one that I read. It is from the series Hell's Library. It's book number 1. Literally, our main character is the head librarian of the library of the unwritten books. So the ideas that you have in your head, those books are written in a library in hell, and the characters can sometimes come to life, and our librarian has to, it's kind of killing, but not really killing because they bleed ink, but they go back into the books once she takes care of them. Well, one of them escapes to the real world, and she and a ragtag group of people from hell have to come up and find the character who has escaped and try to get them back in their book, back in hell. So, hilarity and also really good writing in this book as well. So I gave it 4.5 stars. And that's all. That's it. 10 books. 10 books. I'm so happy. I did read another book that I finished last night. No, I finished it today on the 16th. It was just after midnight last night. So technically, it's for the second half, not the first. And it's one that was on my list, but not really on my list. It's one of my 50 before 50 books. And I read it and I thought, I might just read the next one. And so maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to give myself permission to read and go slowly and just try to enjoy what I'm reading and not do it to check off a box or to check off a readathon, which means that I have not completed the 19 books that I wanted to read for Jake's Dark Tower readathon, but after I enter the ones of these that I have finished, there's still a couple more that I need to enter. I'll be at least caught up and I'll be halfway, better than none. Reading 10 out of the 19 books is better than none, and I still have the rest of the month to go. So that's it. That's everything that I have read for the first half, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.